Yes. Yeah, we didn't have plans tonight.
Hi, Jim.
Not really, but I got shopping done today. One stop shop. Sam's Club.
What you were saying online, the thing you went to.
Yes.
The gift card corridor at Kroger is just wonderful.
The one, the
The
gift
gift
card.
card corridor at Kroger is just wonderful. Shopping in all one place. The fuel perks.
Get it? Oh. Well, we're gonna start here in a minute, but, Doug is out of town due to a death in the family, and Todd's late, gonna be late, so.
Okay.
We can go ahead and start, and work through some of this, but I was actually gonna skip reports and just do whole business and keep moving this evening. But, so, we can wait now, or we can wait later, because I think he's gonna be about 15 minutes, so.
15 minutes, expenses.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So, all right, ready to begin. So you join me for a moment of silent meditation and then the pledge. Join me in the pledge. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right.
Mr. Hostetler.
Here.
Mr. Kaiser.
Here.
Mr. Moore.
Here.
Mr. Walter.
Here.
All right. Council, you received the minutes from the December 9th meeting. Any questions or motion?
I'd make a motion to approve the December 9th.
Mr. Hostetler.
Yes.
Mr. Kaiser.
Yes.
Mr. Moore.
Yes.
Mr. Skidmore. Mr. Walter.
Yes.
All right, and you received current expenses? Questions?
Just a point of information. I would have sworn that on the last listing of payments, we have the $181,000, and I see it repeated again.
I'm not sure why it's, because I see my report dates from 12/9 to 12/31,
Yeah.
but it says the transaction date 12/5, so I don't know if it's considered outstanding, if that's reason, I mean, I don't.
Okay,
But,
okay,
yeah, it's only been paid once.
okay.
I saw that on there as well.
Yeah, we missed that problem. Paid twice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was nice.
That was the only question I had. If nobody else has a question, I'd make a motion to approve the minutes, or not the minutes, but the payment schedule as submitted.
Second.
Mr. Hostetler.
Yes.
Mr. Kaiser.
Yes.
Mr. Moore.
Yes.
Mr. Walter.
Yes.
Okay. Jim, did you have a fire meeting?
Yeah, well, I forgot my report.
Okay, that's fine. I just figured by the next time you'd really forget it, so I was gonna let you report if you got it. All right. Anything else, anybody want to report on before we move into old business? Okay.
Do we have the light problem really solved on the tree yet? Because they were out again last night.
It was fixed today. They should be on
Okay.
this evening.
Upco hit me up when I told them that the budget only provided for 2 weeks of electricity.
Actually, that comment got back to me, but no. Yeah.
Are you gonna do different committee reports, or is that what you're talking about?
Yes. You wanna
I
go
was
ahead?
just going to, report that we had planning and zoning last week, and, planning and zoning would recommend to council that we approve the minor adjustments for the development for out on Shepherd, out here on 42. There was a few small changes we recommended, and it's contingent upon those being met. And so it really looks good. And I also just wanted to let you know that I left my packet of that development with Mr. Jordan, and then whoever's the crossover member, he can give that to them so they have all the information they need.
Good, thanks. That was just, you know, when we talked about those items that we were working with him on, one was streetlights, and so in his plat now, everybody has a post light, and Chief had made a recommendation maybe closer to the street, and so that was one of the conditions going forward. There's a couple
We
more.
made one recommendation that they
internal.
had eliminated one of the connecting paths from the front sidewalk back, and we recommended that they make some sort of a connection, and they're going to redesign that when they bring it forward. It should be some sort of connection through that first.
For the path, the bike paths.
Right.
There was a second path in the common area, kind of park area, that had been taken out, and one redirected because they added the new homes. The redirecting of that path straight through isn't a problem because of the additional homes that we need to put in, or have them put in. But we're having to put that other branch in. One of the other issues came up, there was a roadway width.
Oh, that's correct.
And that
That's
was one of the
correct.
more significant ones. As it stands now, it's 27 feet of asphalt from the curb facing. Curb face to curb face, but technically the curb comes out, it's a foot and a half of concrete, then you get 27 foot of asphalt and another foot and a half of concrete till you actually go up on the curb. And there were, I have to look at my notes, but there were, I believe, some interior roads. It would have been Pin Oak Drive, Sawtooth, Black Oak, and then a loop on Running Oak that they were asking to have reduced down to 24 foot wide. And I believe P&Z agreed with that, or actually they wanted to have everything reduced to 24 except for the main entrance, and we said no. And Planning and Zoning then suggested that they would be agreeable to those
Just the
several-
internal streets.
those internal streets. Now, again, that's, as I recall, we had a letter from Chief Kidd suggesting that he was okay with the 27 foot everywhere. I don't know where it stands as far as whether Chief Kidd, because the question as to whether they could get an engine through on a 24 foot wide if you have cars parked on either side and you need to get the big engine through, as far as whether or not you have adequate width. So I'd leave that to him.
And I spoke with Chief Kidd after your meeting Wednesday and asked that specific question. He said there's no legal reason to deny that. He said he would like to see it wider, but from a legal perspective, he can't give an opinion against that. I have some concerns about it going to that width. We're dealing with some issues right now on some narrower streets where there's parking on both sides. And we have some serviceability issues getting through there with specifically trash trucks and the larger snowplow that we have, getting that through there. So I have some concerns. I talked to Mr. Shepherd about it. I actually had a meeting with him Thursday and expressed some concerns, and he commented to me that that wouldn't be a deal breaker if we didn't allow that reduction in width.
Good.
I know there's some municipalities that have tended to move towards narrower streets as a traffic calming device. Even in Dublin, I've seen where they put barriers up to narrow the traffic pattern, which is intended to slow down traffic. So,
And that was raised at P&Z. I know that was discussed, that, the wider the road, the faster the traffic. think the only issue that I saw was just whether or not service or fire service and things of that nature would be problematic. The homeowners association, I believe in their, what will be their restrictive covenants, I guess suggest against on-street parking. They want everybody parked in the driveways, but, you know, once the developer's done with it and the whole property's turned over to the homeowners association, it's up to them to police it. We don't really have any control over that. So, you know, again, just points for, to be considered.
Okay, thank you.
I had a brief comment on it as far as the design review board. I sent an email to Alan Perkins, who's a future design review board member. Mark, I don't know if you've received the email that I sent you.
I'll have to check.
But I've offered to spend some time with both you and Alan and just kind of going through roles and responsibilities of the design review board and some of the source data that we use for reference. And I've suggested Tuesday evening, the 7th of January or the 14th of January. So if you could check your schedule and let me know, I'd appreciate it. That'll give you a couple weeks before the first design review board meeting takes place on February 3rd.
As long as it's not the night of the national championship game.
Is it a Tuesday night?
I think it's a Monday night,
Okay.
the 6th.
That won't be a problem. I think I've suggested 6:30 and haven't set a place. We can meet here, we can meet the grub house. It doesn't have to be anything really formal.
Okay, we, in the pending items, I had Renee remove this, CIC because there's really nothing happening in Plain City with the small group that was started at one point. And that's simply because Julie was kind of heading it up and she's going off of UFCO at this point, and Sean from Madison County left, and so we're just kind of nothing there. So until that, we can resurrect that with a good group. We're taking it off of pending items. I think we are putting golf carts on until we get that, till we have clear direction there. And then Renee, can you put TIF back on?
Okay.
I emailed you, Bob and Kevin, just, we really didn't have next steps in place, and we kind of need to make a decision about what we're doing there, if we're gonna do something for the Valentine property or not. And we had discussion, but we never,
Okay.
I recall that we finalized anything.
We talked the
So-
trade-off of land, and then
Yes.
we talked about the willingness to go forward with TIF with council. I think I don't know if we reached had a consensus from council that it was worth going forward.
Yeah, I'm not sure. if we did.
But if council was agreeable, the next thing would be to enter into negotiations with Mr. Valentine on a TIF agreement.
Well, we need to know how we're gonna manage it, and we have to be very clear about how to do that, and then how we make it happen. With the CRA, you know, we lost the person that had oversight of that, and it's just kind of hanging out there right now, and we need to be very clear about who's gonna do what and how it's getting done, and, do we have the money to pay someone to do it,
As far as an attorney
for the
specializing in
oversight.
TIF.
Yeah, so.
Understood.
So we do need to have that discussion ahead.
Okay.
All right, old business, we have the third reading of ordinance 2913, which is the salt contract.
Motion to pass the third reading of ordinance 2913.
Second.
Mr. Hostetler?
Yes.
Mr. Kaiser?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Mr. Walter?
Yes.
The third reading of resolution 2413, public works compensation.
Move to pass the third reading of resolution 2413.
Second.
Mr. Hostetler?
Yes.
Mr. Kaiser?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Mr. Walter?
Yes.
Third reading of Resolution 2513, Village Administrator Compensation.
Motion to pass the third reading of ordinance 2513, resolution, it's ordinance?
Resolution.
Second.
Mr. Hostetler?
Yes.
Mr. Kaiser?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Mr. Walter?
Yes.
Third reading of Resolution 2613, Chief of Police Compensation.
Move to pass the third reading, or, yeah, resolution 2613.
Second.
Mr. Hostetler?
Yes.
Mr. Kaiser?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Mr. Walter?
Yes.
Third reading of 2713, Resolution 2713, did I just read that?
Police officer.
Police Officer Compensation, right, 2713.
Motion to approve 2713, third reading.
Also.
Mr. Hostetler?
Yes.
Mr. Kaiser?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Mr. Walter?
Yes.
Third reading Resolution 2813, Fiscal Officer Compensation.
Motion to approve 2813, third reading.
Second.
Mr. Hostetler?
Yes.
Mr. Kaiser?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Mr. Walter?
Yes.
Second reading of Ordinance 3013, Water Sewer Rates.
I'd like to make a statement before we start with either of those.
Okay.
Mr. Gibson pointed out to us at the last meeting a hardship situation at the Senior Citizen Center. And, you know, consideration of that perhaps is appropriate. How we do it, I really don't know yet, because it has to be done. I don't know how we could treat our residents as two separate classes. But I think it's worth maybe investigating what possibly could be done, but I don't see it. I don't think it would warrant us having inaction at this point in time to stop everything for an income stream that's desperately needed to cover expenses. I think we should move forward, but as far as future or pending business, explore how something might be done in an equitable manner.
And you wanted to speak to council this evening, correct? Am I right that that would be what it's about, or no?
No.
Okay, then we'll come back to you. All right, so,
Is there a way to find out maybe what other villages have done, maybe, as far as for those who are on fixed income, living in retirement? I'm sure it's not the first time this has come up.
But the thing that really struck me is, I think that's a government subsidized operation where budgets have to be provided in advance. Budgets have been already put in place for 2014, so that's the hardship situation as I understood it from Mr. Gibson. As far as anything else, I mean, there's a lot of people on fixed incomes in this community, retirees. I'm on a fixed income. So I don't know that, I think it needs to be a pretty narrow focus, and possibly, you know, something could be crafted, possibly relief in year one to be made up in year two, you know, when it could be budgeted. I don't know what those options are. But just because somebody's on a fixed income, there's an awful lot of people that are in that situation.
And that's not the only facility, right? Edgewater is another one, or are they? How many do we have?
it's assisted living, and they're senior citizens, so they would be on a fixed income. Okay, so, if you're still wanting to, then we have the second reading of ordinance 3013, water sewer rates.
Motion to approve 3013, second reading.
Second.
Mr. Hostetler?
Yes.
Mr. Kaiser?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Mr. Skidmore?
Yes.
Mr. Walter?
Yes.
And we have the second reading of ordinance 3113, the sewer surcharge.
Motion to approve 3113, second reading.
Second.
Mr. Hostetler?
Yes.
Mr. Kaiser?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Mr. Skidmore?
Yes.
Mr. Walter?
Yes.
Can you tell me if they, do you have to match dollars with the government or not?
No,
No, okay,
no. It's strict on a percentage basis.
okay, great, thank you. All right, so in new business, you received an email with a resolution establishing the compensation of the village wastewater superintendent, repealing conflicting ordinances and resolutions and declaring an emergency. Kevin, did you want to speak to this at all?
I think I kind of spoke with or emailed most of
We talked
council
to everyone.
regarding it. This is at the hiring of the last wastewater operator we had. He did not have a water certification, so we had to split the water wastewater superintendent position into two superintendents to accommodate that individual. We have found a qualified individual that holds both water and wastewater certifications and can provide us the dual certification as required by the EPA. And that is why I'm asking to bring that position back into a dual superintendent position.
Timing was critical.
Right.
This.
Do we need to make a different change then, because when we split them, the guy that was running the water, he will now be, his pay will be decreased.
His pay will, no, I'm not asking to decrease his pay.
Okay, I wasn't sure how that was, I couldn't remember how that had worked when we had split it.
He did get a nominal increase in salary hourly. However, he is in January going to get his sewer operator's license, and upon completing that, he would be eligible for a step increase at that point, so we would probably forego that step increase once that happens.
Gotcha.
You guys consistently been trying to move forward with licensing and so forth, so it was a nominal raise, so I think that I agree with Kevin. Any questions before we act on?
So the reason we're voting as an emergency is because we were changing the ordinance to merge them back into one position, so that you can be ready to go on day one of next year.
There's an EPA requirement.
The reason for the emergency is the EPA gives us 30 days to get a new operator of record. And currently we are using a third party to be doing that. And I'd like to get this guy on. The EPA gives us 30 days. We can string that a little bit, but they kind of lean on getting that position filled within 30 days, and we are just over that 30-day period right now.
You said we're over that 30 days?
By a couple of days.
Are we gonna get fined or what happens?
No, they are working with us because I contacted them immediately once we lost our last superintendent. And then right around the 30-day mark, I spoke to them again, let them know where we were in that process, and they were okay with that.
How do things change for our current village employee who's doing water once a dual superintendent's in?
They just mentioned that when you were.
Yeah.
I'm
I
sorry.
mean, will he have less to do then, or
No,
will he
he'll
just still be getting delegated to some of the things he would have done before?
He'll still be doing the same job. The previous wastewater superintendent that was there helped on the water side, although he couldn't be our water of record superintendent.
And, you know, we are down people on the public works side, so they've had to take on more anyway and get help from the public works guys. Not that that's gonna decrease, but
And they split right now, even with two people, they work 6 days a week because we have to test 7 days a week. So actually Dave's been working 7 days a week for the last month.
And this will be, you'll be able to do this within the boundaries of the approved budget.
Yes, sir.
so this is resolution 3013. So,
Okay,
go ahead.
I'd make a motion to waive 3 readings.
Second.
Mr. Hostetler?
Yes.
Mr. Kaiser?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Mr. Skidmore?
Yes.
Mr. Walter?
Yes.
Make a motion to bring 3013 out as an emergency.
Second.
Mr. Hostetler?
Yes.
Mr. Kaiser?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Mr. Skidmore?
Yes.
Mr. Walter?
Yes.
So we had an individual come in and ask if she could address council, so we will go ahead and do that. So could you state your name? before
Yes,
you-
Sarah Portman. Sarah Portman, yes.
Thank you.
Okay, I just want to say a couple things. First, they came and dug up my yard and I complained and got upset, so they came and threw grass on it and everything. But when it came time for my plants to come back, nothing came up. They were all gone. I don't want them coming to work in my yard no more. So I don't want any plants or nothing. I just want everyone to know what they did.
Are you talking about when the bypass went in?
No, I don't live up by the bypass.
Who's-
You
who's
think I
that?
did, but I didn't. I live over on Central,
Okay.
okay.
Who's
But
they?
the city workers, they've done several things and I've complained. But this last time, none of my plants came back. And I don't care. I don't want them in my yard. I just want everyone to know that's what they keep doing. They keep doing all this stuff and nothing's done about it. So I think the first when I spoke to you before, you thought I lived by the bypass because they had dug up the road and all this pavement went in my yard, and luckily I didn't have my windows open for all the dust. But they had, and it was like 6 months I was picking pavement out of my yard, stuff like that. But like I said, I just want the town to know that's what happened. They ruined all my plants and everything, and this has happened several times that they've done stuff. And then another thing, I'm not sure if this can be done. I would like Plain City to pay for a lie detector against Chief Hill and his department. I have been going through my police reports and I cannot find some of them. They're missing. And the only way I can prove that I filed a report is to take a lie detector test. Because when I talked to Chief Hill before, I don't know anything about that. I don't know anything about that. That's all I get. And there are like 4 reports that I cannot find.
Cannot find because
They're missing. I've gone through all my reports and I cannot. He gave me copies of all my reports and I cannot.
Misplaced them.
No, they have. I know what I filed and there is no report
And
on
you
it.
didn't get a copy of
No.
those?
I did not get a copy. There's been several. One was against Pete Brokus when he was a police officer. One was against when I called to report. I wanted to file charges because somebody had given my granddaughter a tattoo and she was only 15 and he was like almost 40. And they told me I had to file charges on her. And I said, why? I said, she's 15, he's 40. Why do I have to file charges on her? That wasn't in there. And there's more too. I took a phone up, showed an officer a picture of a big penis. They said there was nothing they could do. And I can tell you, as soon as I go check at Verizon, some of these I can prove by my phone, but I can check and find out. I can't get the copy because I have to have a subpoena or whatever from the police. But I can find out which phone number and about the approximate time that I took this phone up and showed them this. But there's been a couple more too. But mysteriously the reports disappeared. So why? And I will take a lie detector test, whether you pay or I pay, but I'm on disability and I have to get a job and I will to pay. Or I have to wait till my income tax comes, one or the other, because I've already checked around and you can only do 4 to 5 questions to make it accurate. So I probably would have to have 2. So I am looking at about $1,000. And like I said, one way or the other, it'll get done.
What's your objective?
to show that I filed the reports and they didn't file them.
But, okay, so let's assume that you complete that, and I'm not gonna say whether it substantiates your claim or not, maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. What then?
Nothing, it just shows I'm not a liar. They're pretty much have been calling me a liar.
Okay, I think that's.
They have put in the reports that I use vulgarity all the time. I have never sworn at the police. Never. The only time I have ever sworn at the police is when I'm telling them. One time somebody told me I was a effing bitch. I told them that's what they called me. But other than that, I don't like call them names and stuff, you know.
Okay.
But
Well,
a
I think
few reports say I use vulgarity constantly, and I want to prove I don't. You know, these are people see this stuff, and they think I'm a maniac or something, you know, and I'm not.
Well, I think to Mr. Walters' point, if your objective is to prove something about yourself, then that's not something this body should be paying for.
Well, it's not myself, it's the police also, that they lied. Because when I do get my results, I will pass them out to the town. But it is to show that they lied too to me. So. And that's it. So. If you decide you want to pay, you let me know. If not, I will do it on my own. Thank you.
All right, thank you for coming in. Council, do you have any thoughts there?
Looks like way out of our realm.
Yeah,
All that.
I mean, if something happened when Pete Brokus was an officer, how many years ago was that?
If I can shed just some light, if it's okay, Mrs. Portman has come to the police department on several occasions and made public records requests. She's been provided every single copy of report that we have on file. She's not the only one that's ever come to get a copy of the report. However, I would think that this is probably the first time this type of statement's been made before council that we haven't provided certain records. Also, just it's a holiday season. Just to give a little background, there's a family member that is serving some time for an event that we had to investigate. So I don't know if that's a trigger or not. So the circumstances that are alleged for the report, she can come down and get copies of the reports like anybody else at any time. So we can only offer what reports we have on file, and the other things she spoke of, I'm not aware of. So.
But how do you look up a report? Do you have a way to sort by complaint?
Yeah, it depends. You can search by name, you can search by address, you can search by event.
Okay. Then I would simply ask that you search by both the address and the name and print off some copies of what you have on your database.
Yeah, that's what we've provided every single report we have.
Okay, so you've already made that query?
Yes.
Right, she's saying they either
she's
lost
asking
it
for
or
what
they
you haven't
didn't
done.
actually file.
The reports we haven't made is what she, and if there was a criminal offense, she wants to come and file a report, she has that opportunity still to today to file a criminal complaint as long as the statute of limitations on a complaint hasn't expired, which would be 2 years for a misdemeanor and 7 degrees on a felony, other than certain felonies have a lifelong. They don't drop off, such as certain sex offenses and homicides. So.
Chief, just to clarify for council, if someone calls up the police department and they're making a claim or they're reporting, they're not coming down to actually fill out a report, but they're simply calling up to complain about something, do you have an obligation within the department to write a report?
No, not to write a report for someone requesting a report. It's a public records request. By law, we're not even allowed to ask a name of the person. They can be completely anonymous, come to the police department, say, I want a copy of this report, and they are given a copy of it. By law, we can't keep a record of their name, or the only thing we can do is charge a nominal fee for the service that's provided to them.
So it's fair to say that she could be referencing instances where she thinks a report would have been drafted, but she actually was just calling to make a complaint and assumes that you guys are drafting a report for that.
Aye. don't know what it would be in reference to.
That's a possibility.
That's a possibility, yes.
The police blotter, police log that you showed with council, it's sanitized, there's no names.
Only if there's a criminal offense it's
It's
charged.
only, okay.
Yes.
So a phone call wouldn't even be on that.
No, and such as a thing as if we went to a call and if it was documented that somebody made a vulgarity, it's not gonna be documented in a report that goes to the press. It says such and such is making vulgarities unless there's an accompanying charge that was the reason why that charge was filed in the first place.
Okay.
So the point there is that even if that was on a report, her name was not published.
Unless she was charged with a criminal offense
Right.
would be the only time.
Pornography coming in on text messages, what's your procedure there? Do you have any recourse?
Yeah, there would be an investigation that would be
Okay.
completed, so.
Okay.
It all depends what venue as well. I mean, if somebody comes in and makes a report, it might not be their phone, may be somebody else's phone, may have occurred in another jurisdiction, they may be referred somewhere else, so
Okay.
there's a lot of logistics that could go behind it, so.
Okay.
Ironically, the other case I was referring to shows that we do investigate these cases thoroughly because the family member I was referring to is incarcerated on such an event such as that, so.
Okay.
And if she decided she wanted to file a complaint against the police department, does she do that through you?
Yes.
I think that's a remedy. A remedy is not council paying for a lie detector test. What benefit that serves. If there's a complaint or something, or a claim to be made within the police department internally, then that's something that can be investigated through your chain of command. And that would be the route that would have to, that would take place.
All right, anything else?
Just one other thing, I mean, if she made a statement not to allow public works to come on her property, if there's an easement or a right-of-way, public works will have to, and there's a need, they will have to access the right-of-way. So I don't want it to be on the record that, there was a, stay off order here, because that's not the case.
Well, and we've had that discussion before,
Okay.
multiple
With her?
times.
Sorry, with her?
Yep,
Yes, multiple times, and
along with her neighbors coming on her property.
challenging, it's challenging. Yes, no, if there's a line breaks or something and they have to work in that area, they have to work in that area to fix it for her and for everybody else in the vicinity, so.
Is that one of the old parts of town?
Is what she's referring to older than before you were here?
I'm not familiar with the issue, so.
Yes.
Must have been one of the older ones, okay.
All right. Anyone else have anything?
Merry Christmas.
Yeah,
Merry Christmas. Make a motion to adjourn.
Happy New Year.
there you go. Thank you for coming. Have a great rest of the year.
Now we can say goodbye to Todd and Mark.
Yeah.
Bye, Todd. Goodbye, Mark. Oh, you got clean out tonight.
I'm gonna clean out tonight, because I'm gonna give my key, because I was planning on coming in, but since we have this extra time, I gotta.